Ladies and gentlemen, this morning, one of the highlights for me of our convention is the presentation of our Distinguished Service Award. The North Carolina Farm Bureau Distinguished Service Award is the highest honor that this organization gives each year to an individual that has unselfishly served North Carolina and continues to serve and serves our state's farmers. Our 2017 recipient exemplifies the definition of someone who has dedicated themselves to working for North Carolina agriculture and someone who has dedicated themselves to making the lives of North Carolina farm families better. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2017 Distinguished Service Award recipient is Congressman Bob Ethridge. Bob Ethridge was born in Sampson County. His family moved to Harnett County. He played basketball in high school, and he went to Campbell University on an athletic scholarship. After college graduation, Bob Ethridge served in the United States Army. He's been a businessman, a tobacco farmer. He's had a hardware store over the course of his career. Bob Ethridge, though, began his political career as a county commissioner. How basic, as a county commissioner in Harnett County. Bob was elected to the North Carolina General Assembly in 1978, where he served 5 consecutive terms in the North Carolina General Assembly. During his tenure, he distinguished himself as a legislative leader, serving as chair of the House Appropriations Committee. And you know how important that is. Farm Bureau, I remember this, and certainly my predecessor worked closely with Bob. Farm Bureau could always count on Bob Ethridge to have an open door and a listening ear to our issues. You also know that education of our students and our children of our state has always been important to Bob Ethridge. In 1988, he was elected and served 2 terms as our state superintendent of public instruction. After that, Bob Ethridge was elected and served 14 years in the United States House of Representatives, representing North Carolina's 2nd Congressional District. While in Congress, Bob was an important member, a senior member of the House Ag Committee and the Homeland Security Committee. Bob Ethridge, I know, has a passion for farm issues. He has a passion for educational matters, and he has a passion for rural communities. Most recently, many of you remember that Bob Ethridge served as a state executive director of the North Carolina Farm Service Agency and did a masterful job. He provided outstanding leadership at the FSA office. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Ethridge doesn't quit. He is still very busy. He is moving, he is thinking, he is still serving every day, working to better North Carolina and working to better our rural communities. I see it and I know it because I get a call from him. Bob and his wife Faye, who is here with him this morning, have 3 children and 8 grandchildren. This morning, ladies and gentlemen, as president and on behalf of all of you, all of our Farm Bureau members across the state, I am honored to present our highest award to someone who is truly deserving of this special recognition. He is a true servant of agriculture and a true servant of North Carolina, Congressman Bob Ethridge. Let's welcome him. This plaque says it's Distinguished Service Agriculture Award presented to Bob Ethridge in recognition of distinguished and unselfish service to North Carolina agriculture, 2017. It's signed by me as president of North Carolina Farm Bureau. Bob Etheridge, podium's yours. Thank you.
Thank you. I would say I'm beyond words, but I'm not. I have had the privilege, as you can appreciate, and have been blessed, the son of a tenant farmer from Johnston County, to do a lot of things that most people only dream about. And to receive this award today is probably one of the finest awards, Larry, I've ever received. It's from people I care about, people who care about this country, who every day get on a tractor. As I was growing up, it was a one-row, now it's multi-rows. And they make a difference in the world. I thank each of you. I thank Larry for his great leadership. He gave a report this morning. I've seen this Farm Bureau grow over the 80 years. Many of them I've been involved with and seen a part of and worked with his predecessor and Larry and now with him. And with each of you, and I think I've visited every single county. And I've been blessed, but let me say, you know, this award this morning I should be sharing with a lot of folks. People I've worked with. First of all, my wife, Faye, and our 3 children. Because when I was moving around the state, doing a lot of things in other places, she was at home holding down, as many of the spouses here this morning, a full-time job, taking care of the chores of children and all the other things. And each one of you here this morning can say the same thing. You're partners in things that get done. We do this not for ourselves. We do it for the next generation. I'll never forget when I was a young county commissioner, Larry didn't know a whole lot about what I was doing, but I was doing things. I was a National Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C., and I don't know who the speaker was, but I remember what he said that day. He said, all of you are making decisions for children who are not yet born. You said that in a different way this morning. You're taking a stance as an association, as Farm Bureau, for programs and decisions that you may not ever realize, but you need to make them. And yes, there are consequences. I know something about that. And I believe you ought to make tough decisions, even if you lose, so you can win. That's what the good Lord put us on this earth for, to make a difference for other people. If it was only for us, it wouldn't take much. And as I said, I've been blessed. I've had a lot of good ladies to work with. My wife was the first one. When I was in the General Assembly, Larry, you remember Molly Prescott, who was there, and then I was a superintendent and went to Washington. I had another great lady who sort of kept me out of trouble up there, Julie Dwyer. And while I was at FSA, you know the lady I had there. She spent 30-plus years. She's here this morning. I hope she'll stand. First, I want Faye to stand so you know what my wife looks like. Faye spent 30 years teaching children and running the child nutrition program, so she understands how important good food is. And Cindy K. Drumright, who spent 30-plus years with FSA looking at the farmers across this state. There are a lot of challenges. It's all about relationships. It's about choices. And I know you as producers, whatever you may produce right now is a tough time for all of us. Commodity prices are not what they ought to be, and a lot of farmers are having a tough time. But let me just remind you, tough times don't last. Tough people do. And farmers are tough people. And I just saw a report that I just read this past week that was co-sponsored by the American Farm Bureau and someone else, Larry, about the problems with opioid in rural America. And our farmers are in worse condition as results to prescription drugs than any other group. If you know someone who has a problem, help them get some help. That's a horrible situation. Rural America tends to suffer more when things get tough, whether it be education, whatever the issue is we're talking about, communications, education, health care, whatever, because we're spread out and it's harder to get. Thank you, Farm Bureau, for what you do, for what you have done, what you're going to do. And always remember, if you don't have money to give as we approach this Christmas season, you're helping others. Give encouragement. If you don't have encouragement, give time. If you don't have time, find a way to encourage others. Thank you for this great honor. I am honored to be a member of Farm Bureau.